Hi everybody, welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. My name is Jared. In this video, I want to talk about being impatient and specifically being impatient about the second coming because we see so many signs taking place within recent years and especially this year that it feels like things just keep, winding up tighter and tighter and tighter, and at some point it's going to snap and the second coming is going to be here. That's what I feel every day. Both the signs that I look at in the world and in the church, but also in my personal life. I don't know if you've felt the same way. I know a lot of you said that you've had dreams and you've had special experiences, and I've had my own, and it really does feel like it's getting so close. But it can get a little bit disheartening because it's like, I know that we're close, but how much longer is it going to be? And it's because a lot of us are focusing on how great the millennium is going to be, whether it's because we're going to be with loved ones again that have passed away, that at that point will be resurrected, or just looking forward to a paradisiacal earth, which sounds pretty good. And just all the things that we know attend the second coming, seeing Christ, like actually seeing what he actually looks like. And then on top of that, being in his presence and hearing his voice and hearing him speak. All that we've had this entire time is just the scriptures and words relayed through the prophets, which it's the same. The message gets through, but it is different when you're actually hearing somebody speak and seeing their face, and it's going to be an amazing experience. So there's a lot to look forward to. And I want to basically just kind of like address how we need to, keep our head in the game, not be too detached from reality. It is coming. It is coming, but let me just tell you a couple stories really quick. So the first one was my mission, and let me know if you felt the same way when you went on your mission. I was really excited for my mission. In fact, I had gone through a period of impatience waiting for my mission to take place. Because that by itself felt like forever. I was going to a singles ward and I was just like in limbo. I was dating girls, but it wasn't going to go anywhere because I was going on my mission. In fact, I dated Jenica, who's now my wife, and she broke up with me because, she was like she was like 24 at the time, and so it was all but certain that she was probably going to get married while I was away. So, okay, whatever. So we broke up. And I was just kind of miserable because, you could date, but where's that going to take you? Just go on my mission. And then the mission was still months away, but it eventually came. And then once I was on my mission, it wasn't too long. I want to say it was probably even in the first area. I can't say for sure because I don't have a perfect memory, but I know it was pretty early on that my life before the mission started to feel like a dream, like it hadn't actually happened. Like it was a dream, and all I had ever known in my entire life was just being on my mission. That's what I would like to know from you. Did you feel the same way when you're on your mission? So the mission just became life, and it was kind of surreal. It was bizarre. But and at the very beginning, I felt like, you know what? I'm going to be here forever. 2 years? 2 years? I'm going to be here forever. That is so far away. And so anyway, you progress through the mission and you go area to area, companion to companion, baptism to baptism, experience to experience, and eventually you do get toward the end. I remember it was probably about the halfway point. I got this like little like pocket calendar card that I kept in my wallet, and I just like started crossing out the days. Now look, my head was in the game. My head was in the game all the way till the end, and I knew that I was going to miss my mission, but at the same time there is the reality that you're excited to go back home and be with family and be back in my case, be back in the United States. I love Spain, but it might as well be an alien world in many different ways. So, I was like counting down the days, and in that by itself started to feel unreal. It was like, there's no way. Like I only have like a couple weeks left, but there's no way. Is this really happening? it still felt like there was like another year to go. It might as well have been another year, even though I knew that it was only a couple of weeks away. And I feel like that's kind of the point that we're at right now, or at least I am, when it comes to the second coming. Uh, I don't want to sound prideful, but me, more than a lot of people, I think, I've been doing this every single day for over 2 years now, studying the signs of the times, watching the things that have been taking place, putting together spreadsheets and timelines on all different topics. I know I have it all because I've put it all together. And there's overwhelming evidence that it's soon, that it's sooner rather than later. You may not agree, and that's fine. We'll just have to agree to disagree. But I think that it's really soon, even as close as 2024. So, like, for me, I feel like I'm in that moment where it's only a couple weeks away, not literally, but that's like the comparison to my mission. But those couple weeks on my mission, they did go by. And before I knew it, I remember this pretty clearly. I was in Valencia, Spain. That was my last area. And I remember the very last street discussion that we had. It was getting late. It was almost time to go home. And this was kind of like on my mind, like, oh my gosh, pretty soon I'm going to be having the last street discussion. And then it came and we had it. And then we went home. And walking home, it was just like, holy cow, that was it. That was it. And then the rest of it was pretty surreal, going from that point to actually getting home. But coming home was glorious. I talked about this in a live stream, how as we were flying into the Salt Lake Valley, it was nighttime. It was a long trip because there were a couple different legs of the flight. But I was on my final leg flying into Salt Lake. I looked outside, it was dark, and I saw the just perfect straight street lights, indicating straight streets, whereas where I had just come from, streets are like all over the place, like a spaghetti bowl. And that brought, not that that's wrong, like that, I was coming home. That's what that meant. I was coming home, and I was just like, oh my gosh, it felt like the end of the epic journey. And it was, there was another time, really quick, and I shared this in a live stream, but when I was in the Army, and I'm pretty sure this happened right when I got to basic training, you go to the reception battalion and they do all this like processing and different things like paperwork and exams and stuff like this. And in this case, I want to say it was for like a dental exam, like the initial dental exam. And there's a lot of people coming through there, and there were a lot of lines during the entire, process of reception battalion. But this particular, thing that we had to do for the dental exam, it was awful. It was absolutely awful. I drew a little picture of it for you so you can visualize. So this is basically hallways, okay? Like there's the one hallway at the top of the screen going from left to right, and then there's another hallway that goes down, so it's like a T. And then the lines that you see there inside the hallway, that's like the line that you would stand in, one person in front of you, one person behind you, a big long line of soldiers waiting to have their teeth checked. And this was truly a horrible experience, and I'm not exaggerating. It might as well have been. It felt like Dante's Inferno. I think I haven't read that, but from what I've seen, like pictures and stuff depicting Dante's Inferno, and I know like there's the different circles, the different levels or whatever. This felt like one of those levels. The line moved so slow. And in this case, compared to my mission, this was only, part of the day, just like a few hours, whereas like the mission, it's 2 years, but in some way, this actually felt slower. And it's because, you were just like really, 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 really hyper focused on just that moment. So in that way, it was worse. But progressing through the line, it was awful. It took forever. You'd only like step forward every like what felt like every 5 to 10 minutes, and that may not be an exaggeration. I'm not sure. Time kind of moved differently at reception battalion than it does outside reception battalion, I think. But this was another instance, and it did come to an end. But that leads me into what I want to talk about next. This last week in Sunday school, for Come Follow Me, we were talking about patience, and I think that's something that we really, this community really needs to focus on. I don't know. Maybe you're doing good. Let me know. Let me know if you're doing good with being patient for the second coming. Let me know on a scale from 1 to 10 how you're doing with patience. Like, let's say that let's say that like 10 is perfect, you have perfect patience, and then 0 is you have absolutely no patience. So from 0 to 10, that'll be the scale, 0 to 10. Let me know where you're at. But we were talking about patience in Sunday school, and one thought that came to mind for me was that, and I've kind of like talked about this recently, how I've been going through kind of a hard time aside from the second coming, just like really being hyper focused on like these individual problems in my life, like about like 4, 5, 6 of them. And that's it. And basically only thinking about those things, 24/7 when I go to bed, thinking about those things. And I realized that I needed to, start counting blessings, start counting the things in my life that are going right, the things that I enjoy, the blessings. And it really did help. It really, really did. Remember that President Nelson this time of year in 2020, that's when he did the give thanks video, and he was like, let me prescribe this. This is quick acting and quick acting, long lasting, and it's gratitude. And he invited us to, give thanks. And it really did help. Now, in the case of this, patience, the problem here is you're focused on time. You're wanting time to go quicker. But it's very similar. You're like hyper focused on one thing. And so in this instance, it would be the second coming and the millennium and, the resurrection, whatever it is you're looking forward to, all of the above. Really hyper focused on that. And what I realized in Sunday school is that, there's things that you can't control. It's in God's hands. In the case of the second coming, there's an appointed time. We've studied that. Both Bruce R. McConkie, Joseph Fielding Smith talked about that. It's not going to happen sooner because people are righteous. It's not going to happen later because we have to be righteous enough. It has nothing to do with righteousness or wickedness. There's an appointed time when it's going to happen. So we can't control that. We have absolutely no control over that. But what we do have control of is, okay, we want this to happen, but let's look at the things that we can control and just kind of put that on the back burner and focus on other things. So it's kind of similar to like, instead of focusing on negative things, being aware of all the many, many other positive things. In this case, not just focusing on the second coming or whatever you're waiting for, but focusing on the other things in your life that you can control. Maybe especially the things that are going to happen sooner, whether it's like you're looking forward to going on a trip or you're looking forward to something happening at work, you're looking forward to, well, in this case, we're in Thanksgiving week in the United States. So, looking forward to Thanksgiving, that's like something that's really soon. And just shifting your focus to those things that are going to happen soon, the things that you can control, the goals that you're working toward, because a lot of it, well, I guess it depends on the goal, but you should have some degree of control of like how quickly you progress toward that goal. And I think that, that would help. And I feel like it helps me. That's something I'm trying to practice more. Um, it kind of relates to the whole idea that the couple times it came up in general conference this last time of looking beyond the mark, um, looking for things beyond where you are already standing. It's kind of like the grass is greener on the other side. And that's something that I witnessed a lot this summer from my stupid steer. And it was one in particular that kept getting his head caught. And I showed you a video of that one time. But he kept like poking his head through the fence to get the grass on the other side. Um, it may have been a little bit legitimate. It was longer. I should have mowed it, but I was having ride mower issues. But um, anyway, it couldn't be helped. But he was going for the grass on the other side of the fence and getting his head stuck. And there were a couple times. Well, there was like one time that he was there pretty much all day. I didn't find out about it until later on, and I was like, "Oh, you dummy!" And so I had to go and get his head unstuck, and it was really hard to do because of his horns. But it happened, and we don't want to be like that, getting stuck with your head on the other side of the fence and just being stuck there with nobody to help you, or at least not getting help for a long time. So, I think we need to just focus on the things that we have right now. Um, and another thing to remember, we're not going to have this again. The type of life that we're living right now, the pre-millennial life, it's not going to happen again. It may happen kind of in some small part in some kind of way at the end of the millennium. But even then, as far as I know, the Earth is still going to be a paradisiacal world. You're still going to be a quickened / translated being, so you'll still have those things to enjoy. So really, the world that we know right now is coming to an end. And so we would probably do well to appreciate this life. It's like being in a time machine, sort of. Not really. It's just knowing, like, you look back to previous decades, 90s, 80s, 70s, 60s, whatever, they're gone. They are gone. And right now in particular, there's so much like nostalgia out there. I don't know why that is. I don't know if like my generation is just like really selfish and self-centered, and we're just like, oh my gosh, the 80s and the 90s were the best. I don't know why there's so much like nostalgia out there in like movies and pop culture things. Like everyone's so focused on how great the 80s were, but like primarily the 80s. um and there's reason it was a great time. There's companies and restaurants and stuff that we'll never have again, that only existed back in the 80s. Like one famous one that keeps coming up all over the place is like arcades. We're never going to have arcades again like there were in the 80s. Now, no, I know that there are some like specialty places, like you'll have like a guy that has like a big collection of arcades, and then he'll open up his place for like one day a month, and so you can kind of like get that feel. But it's still not, it's not the same. It's never coming back. It's never coming back. I don't know that we will ever experience the 80s again, except for when we have like our perfect memory restored. I'm assuming that we're going to have perfect memory of our life. So we may have it in that sense. Maybe we'll be able to like, you know, Heavenly Father is over time. And so once we get to that point, maybe we'll be able to kind of like go back and like see things, maybe see more than what we actually experienced during that time. But anyway, the fact of the matter is that the way that we're living right now, it is precious. Even the things that are bad, the things that are bad in the world, it's all precious. So I think it's a good idea to just experience it, you know, stop and smell the flowers, really enjoy the moment. Um, it reminds me of, I'll never forget this. I was watching some documentary. it was like about World War II, I think. And they were interviewing a veteran, and he was talking about how hard the war was, how it was just like his, Dante's Inferno. It was like horrible. But at the same time that he grew so much and had so many experiences. And he said this. He said, "You couldn't pay me $1 million to give up that experience, but I wouldn't pay 1 penny to do it again." And I feel like that's my attitude toward life. I look back at all the hard times, all the times that I had to wait, all the times that I've suffered, all the misfortunes and stuff like that, but also like all the good things, and you take it all together. And there are some things I would like to go back and relive probably, but as a whole, this life, I'm looking forward to moving on. And but I do look back and I think about those hard times, and I do appreciate them. It really gives me a sense of like, wow, I can't believe that I got through that. And now I really appreciate how good I have it now. I had to go through this first in order to obtain what I have now, and it was all worth it. And so we're still going through that right now. And I would imagine that once the second coming happens, and once we have this paradisiacal world and crisis here and our loved ones and who knows what else is going to be here, I think that we'll look back and have those kind of thoughts that, I'm really glad that we went through that period of Earth's history. I'm glad that I was able to be part of it, because there's some people that aren't going to be that will never have experienced it. Everyone that's born during the millennium, they're not going to have any idea really what it was like before the millennium. Again, sorry. Don't know what things are going to be like after the millennium. We know that there's going to be a temporary time of wickedness. There's going to be another Gog and Magog. Satan is going to be let loose. There's going to be a time of wickedness, but that's going to be probably of some different kind of character. And people that are born in the millennium, it's only going to be those last generations that are going to experience that period in their mortality. Everybody else that was born earlier in the millennium, they're going to live to 100 years, and then they're going to be resurrected. And then, they'll probably witness what happens at the end of the millennium, but not experience it the same way as those who are actually mortal during that time. So there's some people that just they're not even going to like have the experience that you and I have, what the pre-millennial world was like. And I've thought about this a number of times, how I wonder, like, as we see these upcoming generations and they look to us as we become like elderly, or once we're resurrected, and them like having questions like, what was this like? What was it like when da 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 da? And you and I, we're going to have the answers to that. We will have actually experienced it. So I think in one way we're really blessed, because we're going to have experienced both worlds. And we're going to be able to tell what the difference, tell our, descendants what the difference was and what we experienced. And it's going to be really neat. So, let's just focus on the here and now. That doesn't mean not watch for the signs of the times. I'm still going to be doing this. I'm still going to be excited. There's still going to be impatience, but I think that if we can like focus on other things and just enjoy what we have right now, I think that it can really help things along. So, but that's all I wanted to share for this one. So if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it, leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Also make sure to share it, and I'll talk to you guys later.